86. A Gift of Thorns. As I emerged from the rebirth of my own birth trauma, I expected to find solace in the light of liberation, but instead, I felt the pendulum of pain swing not towards peace, but towards an even greater despair. I had finally exposed the fury and brutality of the primal trauma, the epicenter of my deepest pain. Acknowledging it, I thought, would bring me freedom. But the truth, however, was far more devastating. Unshackling my deepest wound plunged me into the darkest depths of my own psyche. In the days following my fierce encounter, I found myself an emotional mess, constantly crying, often for no reason. It was as if the floodgates inside me had been opened and somebody had forgotten to close the sluices after that supermoon evening. As I navigated the aftermath of my encounter, I realized that my emotional turmoil wasn't a response to past experiences like Mom Doreen's relinquishment, Gurik's death, or Esther Marie's rejection. This time, I knew I was confronting my own buried and burdened emotions. This pain was mine to own and process. I stumbled out of that raw experience, reeling from the indescribable depths of the grief I had long suppressed. Though I'd occasionally confronted aspects of my adoption over the years, I'd never fully delved into the trauma of that experience. The weight of my unexamined emotions was crushing. As I emerged from that emotional tumult, I began to realize that I'd been living in a state of emotional anesthesia for far too long. And so, as I stood at the precipice of my 6th decade, I was struck by the realization that I'd spent a lifetime intermittently addressing, yet never fully confronting, the very thing that had most ineradicably scarred me. The wound of my adoption, inflicted upon me at the moment of my birth, had been an enduring ache in my life. It was a wound, periodically dressed and bandaged, but never deeply examined or healed. This realization sparked a sudden, all-consuming quest to search for answers. I felt an inexplicable magnetic pull toward the stories of fellow adoptees. For the first time ever, and for an entire week, I immersed myself in heart-wrenching, soul-stirring accounts on YouTube. I sat transfixed, listening to their experiences and gaining profound, life-altering insights into the complexities of adoption. Their struggles, pain, and resilience resonated violently within me. I was consumed by unrelenting grief, crying uncontrollably, unable to stem the torrent of tears. As I navigated the turbulent landscape of my emotions, sharing videos and my innermost thoughts, Keith and Albie stood as unwavering pillars of support. Their calm and gentle presence was a balm to my frazzled emotions. Their empathy and understanding wrapped around me like a warm blanket, validating my feelings and reassuring me that I wasn't alone. Together, they crafted a sanctuary of safety and acceptance, a space where I could unravel the tangled threads of my emotions without fear of judgment or rejection. Yet, even Keith and Albie couldn't conceal their shock and disbelief as they witnessed my pain. Their unfiltered reactions reflected the common misconceptions about the adoptee experience, a stark reminder that the complexities of adoption are often misunderstood. Their responses, though genuine and well-meaning, highlighted the pervasive myths surrounding adoptive families. Many view adoption as a benevolent act, a gift that delivers the adoptee from the abyss of future trauma. But my journey exposed a more harrowing reality. Adoption inflicts a ravaging wound, one that throbs with a raw, unrelenting pain. This wound demands acknowledgement, understanding, and validation, yet the assumptions of others, however well-intentioned, serve only to exacerbate the agony. Their silences and platitudes are a brutal hand clamped over the adoptee's mouth, stifling our anguished cries and strangling our truth. Adoption, touted as a gift, arrives wrapped in thorns that shred the adoptee's heart. The accompanying card, penned in the blood of both birth mother and child, bears a haunting message. Be grateful it's not worse. Your silence will be greatly valued. We'll all feel better about what we did to you. This vile silence and stigma perpetuate the wound, a constant reminder that the adoptee's truth is an inconvenient reality, better left unspoken. As I wrestled with the darkness that had strangled me for so long, I began to see that my story was part of a larger, more devastating narrative. The YouTube videos triggered a cascade of epiphanies that hit me wave after wave, crushing over my soul in tsunamis of revelations. I felt an overwhelming sense of connection, as if I'd finally found the missing piece of myself. Every word resonated deeply, echoing my own experiences and emotions. A whole new world blossomed before me, and I finally felt at home. I had become the embodiment of my own creation, Iluna the moonbloom. My petals had finally found their home, and I could now blossom into my true self under the gentle light of my inner moon. As I delved deeper into the mysteries of my adoption, I discovered hidden truths within myself that eviscerated everything I thought I knew about myself, my life, and the people in it. Truth number 1. The primal narcissistic trauma of my separation from my birth mother is a pain that has infected and metastasized within me, releasing its malignancy into every facet of my life. This cancerous narrative has echoed through the silent chambers of my inner being, shaping the topography of my sense of self and my ability to form relationships. My relationships often felt delicate as a spider's web, vulnerable to the slightest tremor. This fragility reflects the deep-seated fears and insecurities that continue to infect my relationships and sense of self. Truth number 2. The echoes of this early trauma have resounded throughout my life, annihilating my self-esteem and self-worth. It's as if I'm navigating a dense forest with the trees of my past looming large. Their shadows stretch and twist, making it hard for me to form authentic relationships where I can freely express my true feelings. To cope with anxiety and fear of abandonment, I have created a false self, a masterfully crafted mask concealing my vulnerability and uncertainty beneath. Truth number 3. My fear of abandonment is a pervasive theme within me. It's a constant hum in the background of my life. Every waking moment, I teeter on the edge of a precipice, the wind whipping my hair into a frenzy as I gaze into the dark and scary unknown. This fear has caused me anxiety, hypervigilance, and difficulties in forming trusting relationships. A crushing weight presses upon my chest, threatening to snuff out my every breath. Truth number 4. And yet, despite these challenges, healing is possible. And how? I believe it begins when we, as adoptees, receive acknowledgement and validation of our experiences and emotions. Our wounds are not our shame to bear. Our healing demands that we confront the lies, the secrets, and the silence. Then, with this foundation in place, we can begin to integrate our past and present selves. This acknowledgement is like a key, unlocking the doors of our heart and allowing us to finally exhale, freeing us from the weight of our unspoken truth. As I stood at the threshold of these newfound truths, a profound realization struck me. Every experience in my life, every event, every encounter, every moment of trauma had been leading me to this moment. My struggles, my meditative experiences, my hypnotherapy sessions, my family constellations work, my mystical experiences, and my journaling, all of it was a thread in the intricate tapestry of my adoption journey. Connecting with other adoptees for the first time, reading their stories and watching their experiences was a turning point. It became crystal clear to me that firstly, every aspect of my life had been influenced by the primal trauma of my adoption. Secondly, I realized I was not alone. My experiences were part of a larger narrative that transcended my individual story. Relating to other adoptees' stories broke my heart. But it also made me recognize my own immense courage and bravery in navigating my life. I had overcome countless obstacles and detours that might seem insignificant to others, but for me were like navigating a treacherous landscape without a map. I thought of Mom Doreen, who had experienced the same trauma as me, actually worse. Unlike me, she never found a loving home. I realized that her traumas and fears were passed down to me in the womb making my journey even more challenging. The theme of relinquishment and abandonment was layered, affecting me in insidious ways that seeped into the fabric of my being. As I reflected on my journey, I felt a deep sense of compassion for myself, for the little girl who navigated this treacherous landscape, and for the woman I am today, still unraveling the threads of my past. I had navigated such a challenging journey, and it deserved my own admiration and respect. Looking back, I acknowledged, appreciated, and applauded my own journey. I realized that I am a warrior, a survivor, and a thriver. And yet, as I stood at the edge of this newfound understanding, I couldn't help but still wonder, is it even humanly possible for the adopted child to integrate a true self between genetics and nurture? What would newborns tell us about adoption if they could speak? Will I ever finally heal from this narcissistic wound, or is it a recurring theme until the day I die? And the most horrifying question of all, what is owed to the child who is adopted, and who will pay that price?